Let me handle this, bitch.
Blow me.
I really had to burp there for a minute. So I was just like, oh fuck, I can't ruin the sound. Hey everybody, welcome to Axeperts After Dark. Shh. Don't use his teeth. He hates that. My name's Dean DeVitri, aka Hugh Jazz,
and I'm Hannah Hacksaw. How's it going, folks?
There goes my intro for you. Fuck. So we've been sitting on this idea for quite some time on making a podcast about just our daily lives at Throw Nation, just lovely Dublin, Ohio,
here, basically,
and just the customer experiences that we've had, and just the lovely over life experiences that we've had.
Yeah, things get crazy from time to time, but it's always a good time when we're at Throw Nation.
100%. Nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. I'm surprised that you and me are duels partners, because like we
get nothing done, bro.
How did we even become duels partners?
That's a good ass question.
I know I used to throw with Lanton, lovely guy, love him to death.
Yeah, and then you just, honestly, I think you were just like, would you want to throw duels with me?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
And we started at the bottom, and we're still there.
We're still there, but it's fine.
World's 2024, we're coming for you. People know how long I've been working at Throw Nation for, about 5+ years, longest job I've had here. How long have you been?
It's been almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years this September, I think. No shit, right? Well, I mean, you should remember you hired me.
So I was probably hungover. Or still a little drunk when I hired you.
Hey, that's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's bonky, man.
It's bonky.
What's your favorite thing about working here?
Honestly, it's just how simple this is. Hanging out with everybody is how I describe this job. I just get to dick around and hang out with people all day, and it's like, I take that over hard labor any day.
Well, because I've worked retail, I've worked restaurant, I've worked like every job under the sun.
Yeah, retail
and, like,
sucks ass.
This is like this is just like a dream job, honestly. And like for the first like 4 years, I want to say I took it for granted. Like honestly, because it's just like you show up, you make money, you go home, you throw axes for a living, which is like just
the most unserious shit ever.
Right.
Right.
What's your favorite kind of customer that walks in? Like your favorite patron?
Someone who is ready to get down.
Someone's
ready to party, bro. I might not drink often, but man, I want them fuckers to drink.
Right. Well, it kind of goes to like expectation of like when people walk through the door, because like we're humans, we all judge people like predeterminedly. I have a perfect example of that Friday. I was by myself, and it was Saturday. I don't know what day it was.
It was one of those days.
Anyways, group of 4 walks in. They're cool as hell. I'm just like, all right, tight. And then another group of 4 walks in their reservation. I'm like, all right, these guys are chill. And this party of 11 turned into like a party of 8. And when they walked through the door, they were laughing at my jokes. I'm just like, okay, like they're gonna be cool as hell. Like they're drinking, they're getting Long Islands, they're having a good time. And then when I started coaching them, they just completely disregarded everything I was saying, had no interest in learning how to throw.
I swear that's how it is after they get their drinks. They're like, all right, we're doing our own thing now.
Which is totally fine. It's just like, I'm only here on the clock being paid to teach you guys how to throw.
Oh, right.
And then it's just kind of like, don't judge a book by its cover, but it's always just a little disheartening.
Oh, yeah, it always is.
When you're like, oh, these guys are my people, they're going to have a great time, they're going to laugh at my jokes.
And then they just
kind of flip.
Yeah, and it's like, well, shit.
One of my favorite things, though, is like when someone has been throwing before, like in their backyard, and then they completely like take over the group.
Oh, yeah, that's the best thing ever, because then I'm like, okay, I'll just sit back and watch this disaster happen.
Just watch it unfold. Like half the time, I just kind of stand there and just judge.
Yeah,
judge silently, because it's just like I could get you to stick probably 90% of the time. And what that girl is telling you is not going to
not wrong. 100% wrong.
Just let us do our job. You come into an axe throwing facility. This doesn't even apply for Throw Nation. You go into an axe throwing facility, just listen to the person that is coaching you.
Please.
This is just a heads up.
We get paid for a reason.
But my favorite thing is like when that one person gets turned on by the group.
Yes.
Like they turn on them.
Yes.
And they're like, I want to listen to him. I want to listen to her. Like let them do their job. Like,
yes.
That is, like,
there's always that one person in a group that's kind of wants to be the person who knows everything. I swear. That was also like that one guy I had in that group where he was kind of just an ass and everybody else was really just, they were loving me. And this dude was just so upset for no reason. I'm like, I don't know why you're mad, bro. Everyone's chilling. I'm chilling. But you're mad about a score? Okay.
Yeah. I think that was the group that I was there with you with.
Oh my
yeah,
God,
I was bartending. And this guy comes up, you know, he's just like, hey man, like you killed it behind the bar. And I was just like, didn't know you were watching me bartend, but like, cool, thanks man. And he had like $120 tab or something like that.
Yeah.
He was buying drinks for everybody. And he's just like, does this tip go to you? And I was just like, well, you know, I was bartending. You just said you did a great job bartending. So yeah. And he was like, I don't want it to go to her.
I was so baffled. I was like, all right, dude, I see what game you're playing. But you know what? His girlfriend handed me a $20 bill, so I'm not even mad.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing, too. It's like, I feel like a lot of our coworkers, myself included sometimes, we just get so hung up on the tip potential that we can get, that we tend to over-focus on it.
Yeah.
And I will say from experience, some of the best shows, for those of you that don't know, we do shows here where it's very interactive and it's very personal, very performative and stuff like that.
Super competitive.
So the tip potential is drastically high. But yeah, some of the best shows I've done, I got like nothing.
Yeah.
But like they had a great time. They're chilling. They were vibing. Like they'll be back. And a lot of the groups that have done that have always come back.
Oh yeah.
And granted, it's just like, yes, it would be great to get like a show to get money out of it.
Oh yeah.
But just the fact that they're coming back and spending time with us and putting money into the business and therefore paying
our
bills.
pockets.
Yeah, and then therefore paying our bills
Green
indirectly.
is green, honey. Green is green.
Spends the same, you know.
Money is money, whether it's electronically or green.
Have you ever done a show where I think we've all done it, but have you ever done a show where you expect like, yes, they love me, they laughed at every joke, they're chilling, they're awesome, I'm gonna get $100 or maybe even $60 out of this group, and then you just get nothing? Like, has that ever happened?
Yeah, it actually has
Yeah.
for sure. It was probably a birthday show, more than
Yeah.
likely. Everyone was just lit, having a good time, screaming, yelling. Of course, I'm not, because I'm not like some people who have to yell during their shows. But
Sean, we're looking at you, bro.
but yeah, they're vibing, and then at the end of it, there's nothing in my bucket. And I'm like, well, all right, cool.
Well, you know, it's
Sometimes I get free cake though, so I mean,
the amount of free food we get is just insane.
oh, it's the
just
bomb. The Jimmy
insane.
John's the other day.
Forget about it.
That was the best thing.
How do you go about kind of changing your attitude towards that? Like, because it's always disappointing to not get, you know, rewarded. I use that term very loosely. To be rewarded for like the effort you put in. Like, so how do you get over that initial thing?
Honestly, it's a positivity thing, because I'm like,
Yeah.
if they won't, someone else will.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not gonna get a paycheck at the end of the week, and
Yeah.
I always just don't let it. If they're having a good time, I mean, I really don't care. Let them have a good time. If they don't want to tip me, fine,
Yeah,
whatever. If you want to be that guy, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you had fun, that's all that matters to me.
In the hindsight, like mindset of like a customer, I'm just kind of like, I can kind of see why. 'Cause
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like, it's like all you did was show us how to throw for 15 minutes and then just made us laugh.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Or you just
Well,
kind
and
of
plus, I feel like people
left.
don't really even think to tip people who teach you to throw
Yeah,
axes either. A lot of
yeah.
people will come in not having cash or anything, because, of course, no one ever
Yeah,
thinks
no
to tip
no one cares
somebody
that.
who teaches you how to throw an axe. No one ever, like, of course, you think to tip your bartender, tip your waitress, but, like, someone who teaches you how to throw an axe, you're like, I have to tip this person. Well, you don't have to, but they're like, you're supposed to tip. It's like, it's crazy to me.
That's what I really love about like this industry, though, is that I've seen it firsthand. I've done it firsthand, but I've seen a coworker of mine take a walk-in. Like, granted,
Yeah.
a walk-in wasn't even a booking; it was just a party too. It was a date night, and he just chatted with him the entire time, and they gave him $100 just for hanging out with them.
Yeah.
So it's just like kindness goes a long way.
That's what I'm telling you. It's like that one group that Ray brought in, Regal
Oh,
and
yeah.
his biker gang. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were super cool. I made $140 off them just talking to them.
I made nothing.
I'm sorry. I offered, okay?
Yeah, no, but I mean that's always just the good thing about it is like there'll always be people coming in, and there'll always be people that will be coming back.
Exactly.
And personally, when I don't get tipped, I don't even ask for tips anymore. I just don't care, because my favorite kind of customer, kind of circling back to the very first initial question, is the people that have never done it before, but also the ones that are low-key kind of afraid to throw an axe.
Yeah, they usually are the ones that actually do tip. They're like the most extremely appreciative people on earth.
Well, it's just something so rewarding to not only kind of share wisdom throughout the years, but also to get someone that's so timid and so afraid that's going to bounce back to finally stick it. Like, to
Yeah.
me, that is like the best feeling in the world.
Oh yeah,
There's
the amount of excitement that comes out of that person
Yeah.
is insane.
I mean, there's nothing better than somebody overcoming that fear of it bouncing back and everything like
Yeah,
that.
it's intimidating. I mean, the
Yeah.
first time I ever threw an axe was when you interviewed me.
Yeah.
That was nerve-wracking. Oh my, I tell everybody that when I teach them to throw. I'm like, nothing can be more nerve-wracking than this being your first time at an interview.
Yeah, that's how I got hired on too. I thought I was applying for a bartending job. It's just like, no, joke's on you. Met the lovely Marty Parker, and he was just like, here we go, you're throwing. And I was like, oh shit, you know. There were people dressed up in like dress pants and shit, like, you know, being fancy. Like,
definitely not our attire particularly.
Yeah. And my first name was Michael Jackson. You know, Jackson, you know. But also, it's just like one of my favorite things to do with people that are timid is just kind of, I have a very sense of sarcasm.
Yeah.
I feel like that really kind of eases people into it.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of goes back to when we used to do combined shows, where we still have combined groups, where there's always that one person that doesn't really dig throwing with other people, or just even dig throwing in the first place.
Right.
And one of my favorite things about this place is people, for some reason, people walk in here just kind of pissed off.
Exactly.
I don't know why.
Sometimes they do, and I'm just like, why are you mad?
And
there's alcohol here.
A good story. A good story of that is when I did a combined show. It was a family of 4 and a family of 6, and the family of 4 had a dad who just wasn't vibing it. Like, he just wasn't digging the personality that I put on, because I'm a sociopath. You gotta switch up personalities. You know what I mean, to fit their needs.
Code switch. You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
And his daughter was struggling, and I took the extra 5 minutes to get her to stick, and I swear to God, she almost cried. And then after that, like, he started like cheering up a bit, and then he got super into it, won the Lumberlord tournament, and like handed me like $60. You know what I mean? But it's also just kind of like reading the room.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, we all say that, like, you gotta read the room. And one of my very favorite things to do to tell if a group is going to be cool or not is if they hit the Throw Nation sign like way up there. If they say a little high, or I say a little high, and I make the quick little joke, aren't we all? If they laugh, high on what? I don't know. But they always assume marijuana. It could be Viagra or whatever. If they laugh, I'm just like, okay, cool. I can kind of break this tension, ease them into this. But you got like a split second to say that, because I've had a few groups where I'm just like, yeah, a little high, aren't we all? And I'll laugh to myself, because I think I'm a funny fellow. And they'll just be like, just crickets, and I'm like, so moving on.
The crowd goes wild.
It literally goes from little high, aren't we all, to, oh, you got to throw it a little lower, and then you got to switch it up. You know what I mean?
Right. The thing I always say if they hit that sign, I'm like, oh, if only that was a jackpot. Ding, ding, ding.
I hate how stupid that is, but it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh, though.
But like it works, especially because I don't want to say. Usually, what I say if I know the group's really cool is, I was hiring Snoop Dogg. It's usually what I say. But if the group is not that type of group, I'm gonna say that's jackpot you just got there. Ding, 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 ding.
I can't tell you how much weed I have gotten. I've gotten tipped from customers.
Dude, like the microdose chocolates that I got, bro, from this customer from New York. I don't know where you are, dog. You're the shit.
Disclaimer: we obviously don't.
We are sober.
Do these things on the clock in front of customers. Just a disclaimer.
This is all recreational.
If Heather and David are watching, we
at
sober.
Home.
Yeah.
Strictly at home.
But it's just always interesting just to kind of get people back into their comfort zones.
Yeah.
And one thing I was going to compliment you on, like I need to do that, is how your shows are just basically everyone's shows are just so drastically different from each other's. Because like my early shows were very high energy, like climbing on shit, climbing on people, you know, just running around, rolling on the floor. And it's kind of just developed into like a sarcastic, like Jerry Springer, like Norm Macdonald type thing. And I do miss being that crackhead energy, and like I still do yell every now and then. But I project.
If they're yelling, I'll yell.
Like I'll project, but I do miss that crackhead energy of like a show. But I just haven't had a show just get so into it. Like that's when I kind of
where you can bring that out.
Break it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes you just gotta be laid back and chill. Other times you have to be a little bit witty, be a little bit funny, or 9 times out of 10 people just want you to fuck off.
Yeah, honestly, they really do. Most of the time they're just like, yeah, we're good, and then you leave and they're fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's just the thing too. I mean, you're throwing an axe.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not that serious.
I've had someone be like, are these real axes?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, you know, yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not rocket science. We're not cavemen banging rocks together. Like, we're just throwing it. My favorite thing, though, is when, especially dudes do this a lot, especially with like a lady friend or like a date night or whatever. They'll just chalk that fucker.
They feel like they have to show
like,
all their strength for overcompensate. It's like, boy, stop.
It's just like, you're gonna send that through the wall, it's gonna bounce back, and it's just not
and you're making your date cringe.
But I've given up on the fact of telling them, hey, you don't need to throw it that hard, because like I'll literally just grab my axe and just like toss it, and then 9 times out of 10 they'll be like, oh, okay, that's why it's not sticking. And I'm like, well, it's not sticking because
you're throwing it too hard.
I'm not gonna make that comment, but my other favorite thing is when people see the lines, like the 12 foot and 15 foot, and they'll see, you know, myself or Sean or whoever throwing from 15 feet, and they'll just
try it.
And you know, there's a technique to it. Obviously, you gotta lob it. You don't need to throw it as hard. But that's always just one of my favorite things. Just like, why isn't it sticking?
It's so funny because literally just the other day I called it out. The dude that kept wanting me to keep score for him. He was so determined on hitting it from 15 feet, and every time he was getting ready to throw, I'm like, axe head, because that's what it hits every time. I'm like, axe head, and sure enough, axe head. And I'm like, that's why I told you to throw from this line, man. That one. Not this one. That one.
I mean, that's just always the thing. It's also a great thing about this job is, like, you get to learn a lot about people.
Oh, yeah.
And how to handle them. I'm not going to say deal with them because that's not the proper term in hospitality.
Right.
It's how to handle them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen throughout the years, Axeperts, coaches just kind of give up or become really frustrated or feel disrespected. And I can understand where they're coming from with the disrespect, because we have some really great axe throwers here, like world class axe throwers.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's just the way to go about things. No one likes being talked to like they're a toddler. Like, I wouldn't want someone to be like, you're never gonna stick it doing like that. Like, I want someone to show me, or I want someone to just like calmly be like, hey, try this out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
a suggestion, not a demand.
I've always made the joke of like the ABCs, you know, always be coaching. Like, because that's how you get people to come back.
Exactly.
Because no one wants to come in here and not stick it.
Yeah, because that's like the whole goal of this thing is like people want to actually be able to hit the board.
That rush of dopamine, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's the whole point. Getting it to stick is the whole point of this business.
Yeah, exactly. I think my favorite customer, though, I have so many. Honestly, this kind of varies because I always do the private groups here, like the corporate parties and stuff like that. You do kind of like the general public stuff.
General public.
Excuse me. We're not going to edit that out.
Sounding like me.
One of my favorite groups are State Farm. State Farm. I've done. You can hop on
Come
that.
on down.
State Farm, and then also there was one that was a multi-million-dollar company, and last summer I did 6 shows back to back for them each time.
Yeah.
And obviously the money's great, but it's just the level of excitement. I think that's why I fell in love with this job, because like you take this passion and people become passionate about it. They get excited for it.
Yeah.
And that's always been one of my favorite things about it.
Exactly. Yeah, honestly, that's like what really got me super into my job was when Ray and Melissa came in, and then they started throwing in leagues. Mm-hmm. That's when I really started. Hi guys, hi mom, dad. Also, but yeah, like when they started throwing in leagues, that's when I was like, damn, like people actually like us enough to come back, and that's when I actually started trying. Like, well, not that I wasn't trying before, but like I actually was like, I need to get these people to come back, and I've had people request me, and I'm like, this is great, and it's rewarding as hell to have people actually enjoy being around you.
To remember your name and be like, hey, I want Hannah.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
Like to know who you are.
I've always loved having repeat customers, you know, because it's
the best, and they're such cool people too.
Yeah.
They're always such amazing people. We never have returning people who treat us like crap, which is great.
The one thing that I do love about this place is just how we can just be ourselves.
Yes.
Like mostly unfiltered.
Yeah, for the most part.
Because it reminds me of the one time this guy came in. And Bo was being the one that was like telling him off basically because he didn't want to sign the waiver. I don't know if you know this story or not.
I don't think so.
I've been called many things here, a lot of polite things, but I was called an asshole by this guy. And I wasn't the one being an asshole. I was just being my sarcastic self. So this guy walks in and he was just like, so I got to fill out a waiver, huh? You know, and I'm just like, yeah, man, you know, it takes about 2 minutes to pull out your phone, give us a scan. He was like, don't you have a paper one? But before I could answer, Bo was like, no, just pull out your phone, give it a scan.
Yeah.
And so...
Simple enough.
And so I'm just like, oh, God, here we go. And he's just like, I don't want to put in an email. And I was like, and then Bo was just like, well, then you're not going to throw. Like, you know what I mean? Bo was the one that was being just cutthroat with the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Get it, cutthroat. Sorry. And then so I was like, well, you can give us your phone number, you know. And he was just like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, how about your blood type, shoe size, home address, social security? And he stops, puts his phone down. He's like, you're an asshole.
It's like me.
Yeah. Even though Bo is just like the one being like, you can get out. You don't have to throw. But yeah, that was the first.
You're like, dude, why me?
But it was just the most like just deadpan, just fucking sarcastic shit because as much as I love my job, sometimes you have those days where you just don't want to deal with people.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's like you ain't the one.
And it's just like, because I was literally just like, yeah, your phone number works, shoe size, blood type, you know, it's like just
right,
serious
like being
undertone.
just joking around.
But I wasn't being serious though. I think he thought I was because like I just had I had a deadpan face and I just barely smirked a little bit, and that's when he's like, you're an asshole. And I wish I could have been quick enough to be like, don't you mean axhole? But. You know, hindsight 2020. Next time I'll do that. I think that's the only time I've ever been called something like that. But there's also the Valentine's Day incident, but we'll cover that in like a future episode because that one's a doozy. That's probably,
a whole story in itself.
That's probably just a whole episode itself, just because a lot of shit went down on that.
No shit.
I haven't had to ban many people, but fuck.
There has not been a banishment since I've worked here, at least.
Have you ever had like a patron like that? Like just, you know, like insulting you or
Thank God no. Thank God no. I did have a customer call me Pocahontas, so that was a little not PC though. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And Sacagawea, those two. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh.
It's just the one thing I like about kind of tying back, like this is all just like ADHD right here, tying back just to like how the best thing about for you working here is just hanging out with us.
Oh, yeah.
Being like a family, because we basically are like a very dysfunctional family. But that's the one thing with like the 2 incidences that we've had, other employees have always had our backs.
Oh, yeah.
You know
We always have each other's backs.
It's just incredible.
Yeah, I know. I've made such good friends out of you guys, for real. It's nice to have a found family, even though it's a bit crazy. Little ADD up in here, but that's okay. We like it like that.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, it's just, what else do we have?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I love in our manual, I still have mine from when I got hired.
My shit went in the trash!
From 2019, it was just like, do not tolerate being disrespected.
Oh, yeah.
Any signs of disrespect, like, stop what you're doing, and, like, give them a warning, and then tell a manager and whatever. And that's the one thing that I've always admired about the previous owner.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant guy, great guy, but he always didn't tolerate us being, like, berated like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think in the 5 years that I've been here, I've maybe had to stop maybe just one show.
Yeah.
Just one show, just because it was when we were doing that combined stuff again. And it wasn't
always with the combined stuff.
Yeah,
too.
well, it was the combined stuff, which 9 times out of 10, like, people would like
people
it
chill with
because
it,
you have to get people on your side.
Yeah,
you know?
it's always that one person.
Yeah, well, and I'll touch back on that in a minute. I was under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure at that time because I was the general manager. I was doing payroll, staffing, scheduling, front desk, bartending, and like all this stuff. So,
and
like,
living here.
Yeah, basically, I worked like 80 hours a week, and I was doing a show because one of the Axeperts called off. So like I had to do the job of 4 people, and you know I'm stressed out, I'm tired, and this one gal was just not happy that she and her friend, it was just a party of 2, had to share with a party of 8.
Of course.
But the party of 8 was cool with it. They were like, hey, the more the merrier. We're here for a good time.
Right.
You know, we'll do this. And unfortunately, all the other ranges were full. They're like, why? That's the one thing. That's like my pet peeve is when people are like, can we just throw in our own lane? And it's just kind of like, do you see
where?
Do you want to throw outside? Like, there's no open
Take
lanes.
you to the mobile unit, homie.
You know, exactly. And she was just starting to just mutter stuff under her breath and just being upset. And I stopped what I was doing, and I was just like, hey guys, listen, you can either keep throwing or you can just leave.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at that point,
we can't deal with that.
But, you know, at that point, they have already been throwing for like 45 minutes, right? That doesn't include their training, right? So 45 minutes, and they're like, well, we want our money back. We want to talk to a manager, and I was just like, well, good news, you're talking to him. So you know, and then I pulled them aside and let the group of 8 finish, and they were like, so what are our options here? And that's when they chilled out a little bit,
of course,
because I was just like, well, our options are you guys can continue. You guys are my last group. There's no more reservations after this. So like once they leave or a lane opens up, I'll happily let you guys do that. Yeah, not a big deal.
It's an easily fixable situation.
or I can give you a credit for your next visit, and you guys we can just go our separate ways. And they chose the first option because they didn't want a credit. They never came back, which again, like there's no disrespect there. Sometimes it's just not your cup of tea. Yeah. But you know, after everyone was finished and we did Lumberlord, they had a great time. Yeah. And it's mostly, this is where it kind of ties back into the one person. Being a performer for as long as I have, you have to get the audience on your side. You have to make people think that you're their friend. Right. And that's just our job, whether we know it or not, as well, like subconsciously. Like that's how we can get the most tips out of it. Yeah. But also how we can ensure that people are getting the most out of their experience, because everyone wants to hang out with their friends. No one wants to hang out with a stranger. Exactly. So it's just like, if you get that one person that's being troublesome and you can turn them around, you
then
already
it's
got
easy
it.
Sailing.
But the beautiful thing about that, though, is if that one troubled person is just being trouble and the rest are having fun, they'll either turn their attitude around and have fun because the rest of the people are, or they'll just kind of sit and sulk and just kind of be left out.
Just sit there and be pissy.
Back in the day when I first started, I tried my best just to like people please everybody and just make sure everyone was happy. And then I was just like, this is an uphill battle. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to let the group kind of determine what to do with them. Yeah. And I feel like that's just the best handled situation.
Oh yeah, it is. It kind of ties back in with that one guy with the don't make sure that tip don't go to her, because like everybody was on my side and they were telling the dude like, hey, like, why are you mad at her? Like, this is her job. Like, I think she knows what she's doing. Like, every person in that group was telling me, you're fine, you're doing your job.
I mean, that was like a $40 tip though, so I was just like, shit.
That's what I'm saying. You know? Well, I mean, it's not like I didn't make 60 off of him either, anyways, because like, just because of him, it didn't mean that everybody else didn't have a good time, clearly, because I made money. Yeah. Everybody else tipped me, but him, which I don't care.
So we touched on the positive and a little bit of the negative. What's your least favorite thing about coming here?
That's a real good question.
I like that you have to think, though, because that could either be a really good thing or a really bad thing. Let's see, alphabetically or most recently?
I'd have to say just people that come in with a pissy attitude from the start and stay pissy the whole time.
A smile's free, guys.
It is. I mean? Like, it's not hard to give. It's free to give kindness, man. Yeah. Like, it's like, I'm just here to make sure you're cool and you're having a good time and you're gonna be mad at me. Like, I'll be getting them to throw it, and like they'll throw like twice and won't stick it, and then instantly just, I don't want to do this anymore. Give up. And I'm like, come on, like, you're gonna be here the next hour and a half. We have time to get you to be good at this. It's not that bad.
Well, that's what's like crazy to me is axe throwing is very therapeutic.
Yes.
It's a workout and it's very therapeutic.
That's why you think I throw it so hard.
Just don't throw it with me. It's very therapeutic, you know, because people are always like, this must be like the easiest and the best job in the world. And I wouldn't say the easiest, because every job has its struggles and everything. And but yeah, it is the best job in the world, because I always make the joke, I never leave work angry. Because like if I have a bad day, I hardly ever have a bad day here. I used to way back in the day. Yeah. But all you gotta do is pick up an axe and throw it. You know, I can't tell you the number of times I picked up one of those axes and just sent it.
Just chuck that bitch.
Obviously, again, not in front of customers, because that's just a bad look.
When no one's here.
But you know, it's just therapeutic. You know, it's something that you can just really enjoy. Or you know, you have an ex or something, you put up their picture on the wall. You know, and I 100% agree with that. I think that's my least favorite, is when people just come in here just in a negative mood and it just affects everybody. You know, and it's
everybody makes everybody pissy. Like I had a 16-year-old girl in one of my groups just hissy the whole time because she couldn't stick it, but would not take any of my directions.
Yeah.
So I just kind of let it go, but from time to time, I keep giving her direction, but like, at a point, she just got mad. I'll never forget, I think you were here, she dropped a glass and ran to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she definitely was sulking. She hid the whole time, and I was like, come on.
I mean, I just feel bad for those people.
Yeah,
you know
and
I
felt bad, but to an extent, everybody was like trying to get her to throw, and everyone was like, "Come on!" And it's like, you gotta, and it was her brother's birthday and everything, so I can kind of get why she shouldn't have been like that, because it's like, girl, it's your brother's birthday. Just try and have it. It's not that serious.
Yeah, it's not for you. It's for him.
It's not that serious.
Yeah,
it's axe throwing,
It's just
man.
axe throwing, guys.
That's like the one thing we always say. It's just axe throwing. Like,
like it's not the Olympics.
Yes, I wish some people in leagues would get that.
Leagues are another story. But
that's another episode.
We love our
as
league.
well.
We love our league members.
Oh yeah, leagues are great. I didn't mean our league members.
Yeah. I will say my least favorite thing besides that would definitely be changing boards when we're busy.
Oh God,
Like,
you gotta do it like friggin' NASCAR pit stop. Like,
well, because some people, I won't name names, they bury the screws in the shit.
And then they just spin
and
in
they
the wall.
Yep. And then
and you can't get them out. You have to rip off the wall.
I will say I do talk with my face a lot. Like my facial expressions really do say a lot about me. If you ever want to see me frustrated and pissed off, ask me to change a board when we're fucking packed, because like I will. If it doesn't come out right away, I just I get so frustrated, because changing a board should not take more than 2 minutes.
Exactly.
It just straight up shouldn't.
If someone puts the board up correctly, it shouldn't take more than 2 minutes.
But you know, the screws are stripped, they're bent, they're whatever, you can't find them, or there'll be like 8 screws in one board.
Yes.
And the other thing is like, okay, you finally got them out, and then you try to put it in, should be a perfect fit. Nope. And then you gotta take down the other boards
and
you know,
scoot them over. And, oh my God, it's a nightmare.
And then so a 2-minute board change turns into like 10, because then you gotta make sure they're pushed together and everything. And then I'm frustrated because I'm just like, motherfucker, I shouldn't have to do this.
I shouldn't be doing this right now.
Goddamn, man. I think that's my least favorite thing.
Yeah, boards are changes. Honestly, I hate boards.
You would assume they're all the same length and the width. You know what I mean? Like they would just
people
pop
at the lumber yard said, "Nip."
Well, I feel like they expand naturally because you've soaked them with water and everything, and then people chew them up. But it's just like I should be able to just pop this board out, pop another one in, and go about my way. But no, I'm sitting here with a fucking crowbar and an axe, trying to fucking just beat myself over the head with it.
Like the one time we had to hack that board apart.
Oh,
you were just.
Nothing pisses me off more than just changing fucking boards that don't want to come out, man. And I hate it.
He was just hacking at this shit, bro.
I get frustrated, man, because like that should coaching is like the second easiest thing to do here for me.
Yeah.
Right? Bartending is like the easiest. The third easiest thing should be changing fucking boards. Right?
But it's not.
It's not. And it's fucking infuriating when that shit just won't come the fuck out.
And also, I feel like we need to use new screws every time we change a board, because so many of those screws are fucking stripped.
Right.
Like the shit's a circle when it's supposed to be a hexagon. Like, girl, I can't get the bit in here.
I had the most embarrassing story about changing a board. It was a bunch of tool makers.
Of course.
And so, you know, they're just like, hey, can you change one of our boards out?
You
like,
do it. You work with tools.
I was like, yeah, sure, you know, whatever. Looks simple jobs, really easy. And, you know, I'm taking one screw out. I'm like, great, cool. Second one out, awesome. Third one, a little bit of a strip. I'm like, okay, got it out. And then the fourth one was just, the head was bent. And it was stripping a lot. And so I'm just like, in front of these dudes that work with power tools every fucking day.
How do you think I feel as a woman when I change boards for groups with men in them? I'm sitting there like, it's stripping. I'm like, oh shit. They're watching me. I'm like,
if it doesn't come out in the first like 10 seconds, that's when I get frustrated.
And
that's when I just rip the fucking board out. And it was so embarrassing because I was stripping the screw, even though it was already stripped, for 30 seconds, and they're just looking at me. And I look at them, I've calmly set the drill down, borrow one of their axes, and I just fucking pull it out. And they're like, "You think that'd be a lot easier, huh?" And I was just like, "You fucking think."
Yeah.
But no, evidently not. Like, that's just one of my least favorite things that
The boards suck. I hate trying to do that.
My one thing, I think we should probably wrap up here. We're about almost at the 40-minute mark.
Oh, wow.
One of my favorite things, though, is when people are like, they get a brand new board, and they're like, "Hey, can you change this?"
I can't stand that. Or like you take a group to a lane, and then they're like, "This board's really chewed up, and it's like got like 3 marks in it," and I'm like,
and it's just like, no. What I used to do was because like obviously we can throw on basically any board, right? My general rule of thumb is I put my mind in the mindset of a customer, being like, if I can't stick this, I'll change it, right? And so this one was kind of chewed, but you could easily still stick it. Like they weren't having a single problem with it.
right.
And so what I did was I changed it out, got a fresh new board, put it up, didn't water it. And then they went from sticking it like 90% of the time to none, to none, right? And then so about 5 minutes go by, and they're like, "Why aren't we sticking?" And I was like, "It's a brand new board, but I got something that'll help you." And then I finally soak it, right? And then it slowly went from like drop to like drop, hit, drop. And they're like, "So what happened? Like, why couldn't we stick it?" And I was like, "Well, that's a brand new board. It has to be broken in. Like, you need to be precise, and you need to be hitting it." Like,
exactly.
And they're like,
people don't realize that we actually know what we're doing.
But then they had the realization of, oh, that board was fine, and we kind of fucked ourselves. And I was just like, you live and you learn.
We know what to do in our job.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, before we wrap up, you did your first ever card trick over the weekend.
I did.
How was that? What'd you think?
That was interesting. That's like, well, it was technically my second trick, if you think. Well, first card trick, second trick total.
Yeah.
Because, the illusion. What was it called? Hanamorphosis?
Yeah, I think I was fine when I named that.
Of course you were. But yeah, no, that was awesome. That lady was so psyched, and I was happy because I like being on the other side of magician
right.
shit.
Well, I mean, that's why I love this job so much, because a lot of what we do is with people, and I'm an extrovert, clearly. And I just love performing. I feel like every show that we do here is a performance.
Yes.
But there's no better feeling than fooling somebody with a card trick.
Exactly.
And just the fact that you executed it was pretty great.
I was proud of myself. I was like, I don't think there was no way I could fuck it up though, because that was probably the most foolproof trick he could have gave me.
Yeah.
If I would have fucked it up, I would have been pretty dumb if I did.
So embarrassed. Well, I mean, that's why I like performing with you, because like we just kind of flow together.
Oh yeah, we do.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just taking your. I knew I shouldn't have you shuffle.
Okay, I know I suck, but hey, that added to it made me look a little inexperienced.
I mean, kind of are.
I told the lady I am no poker dealer. Okay, I shuffled to play Uno. That is about it.
But, hopefully, you got like the good feeling from that, though.
Oh yeah, that was great. I already
love...
told you I want to do more magic with you, bro. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, we'll make a series. Be on the lookout for it. We'll make a series of teaching magic and shit, and performing and everything, because you can be great, And I always love just getting people into my world a little bit, because like a lot of people just know me for, when I was a drunk, but they know me for bartending, or they know me for axe throwing, knife throwing. But like a lot of people tend to forget that.
Shit, I knew you for magic and bartending. That was pretty much it.
born magician, and it's great that you had such joy out of that.
That was so lit. That was so great.
And my favorite thing was just like, how are you gonna make her pick that card?
And then I went, I'll just let you figure that out.
Don't worry.
I'll let you do that. You worry about that problem, not me.
Well, that's our first episode, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed our beautiful faces. Or if you're listening on Spotify, thank you.
Hopefully you liked our voices.
Nails on the chalkboard. I'm Hugh Jazz.
I am Hugh Janus.
And we'll see you in the next one. Peace. My dick feels like corn.